what kind of girl were you? What kind of little girl were you? Were you mischievous? Were you obedient?
No, I had books and papers, and I've had them all my life. I pity anybody who has to come behind me and deal with estate matters and my papers and things. I just pity them. Because I write, if I wake up and think, that's where I write. If I'm in the bathroom, that's where I write. That's just the way I've always been through college, through law school, through the military, OCS, and wherever. I'm always jotting down, writing down, scribbling, so to speak, Grandma called it.
And you were like that even as a little girl?
As a little girl, I had my own little papers.
You had your own little papers as a little girl?
And Grandma protected me. In my little papers, I had a cigar box. My grandfather had a grocery store down in the Brooklyn section of Charlotte. And when you'd get all the cigars were sold out of a little old box, then Grandma would give me one, would give my sister Eunice one, would give my sister Rachel one, and Bea was older, and she didn't bother with these boxes. But they were marvelous things for storing things in, like your dolls, your papers, your drawing. I used to do a lot of drawing. Consequently, today I can neither write nor draw. I scribble. It's pitiful.
Tell me what growing up in Charlotte in those days was like, particularly as a young girl of color.
Well, first of all, you must know that my father died early when I was 4, and we went to live with Grandma Rachel and Grandpa Graham. He was pastor of East Stonewall Church. It still is in existence. Moved to a couple of locations, I believe. It was filled with activity. The church thing, the women coming, the programs. I made my first speech when I was 3. I don't know what I said, but that's what Mama told me. And people cheered. And I've been speaking ever since. And some people have cheered. Even in the courthouse when I have made my closing, people have cheered sometime.
And it started in the church?
It started in the church.
And the church was central, obviously, to your childhood growing up.
Of course, well, Grandpa being the pastor of East Stonewall, he was key, and we were a great part of it. And even when he left and was transferred, we continued there because it was near our home. And that's where I got all the little things that you need, I think, today as well as then, to go forward, to look upward. And I think we have the television as the substitute, but I don't think it is.
The substitute for what? For
entertainment, for lessons, for study, for pricking your imagination. And I think for children, that's what we need.
How much contact did you, as a young girl of color in those days, how much contact did you have with whites?
I had very little. The insurance man came.
The insurance man?
Yeah, the insurance man came to collect the insurance on Mondays or Tuesdays or whatever, and he would bring his book and open it out, and Grandma would go to the door, and we would be right behind her. And she would give him her payment in the book. He would record it, and give her any change she was due, and say goodbye. And she would close and lock the door, and we were going back into the house because we played on the back porch. We had a big back porch, and it was everything out there, boxes, and good things. And you could even have water because it was a faucet that came up on the back porch. And you could make mud pies and cookies, mud cookies and stuff like that.
What about white children? Did you have any contact with them?
Oh, I didn't have any contact with white children until I was old enough to have a summer job. And I went to work with some families through the school and through contacts with my mother. And I would take care of the children as best I could. You know, when you get to be 11 and 12 years old, you're pretty good size back in those days.